There are 3 big overarching Instagram story strategies right now that are super popular, and I really just wanted to break down each one of them for you in this video because I'm a big believer that growing a business online is not cookie cutter. There are multiple ways to be successful and to grow your business with these platforms we all use. I've tried them all before in different phases of my business, and then at the end, I'm also going to share 3 big hacks that I see working really well right now on Instagram stories that you can implement no matter what kind of strategy you are using. Okay, so first of all, I did want to share, I have a free download that has a bunch of different Instagram posting schedules that kind of goes along with this video in the sense of it's helping you to get an idea based on your Instagram goals, your Instagram capacity, how often you should be posting on Instagram. So I'm gonna leave a link to that below. It's completely free. That might be really helpful too as you think through these different strategies I'm gonna talk about. All right, so strategy number 1, I like to call this focus only on selling in your story. So this strategy that I see pretty popular, and honestly it does work as far as conversions go, is posting maybe 1 or 2 stories at a time. They're very conversion based, very driven by like a call to action with ManyChat or a link, and really helping to drive those leads and traffic to your business. And they work, right? Like typically you'll see these people posting 1, maybe 2 story slides. It's very business based, very conversion based. Pro to this is they're simpler to create, right? You're only creating 1 or 2 slides and then you're done for the day. You don't have to constantly be thinking about stories. But the big con to these types of stories, in my opinion, is that there's no personal branding. Like you're posting 1 or 2 stories and that's it. Like people aren't getting to know you. People aren't getting to know your personality and what you bring to the table. And I think that's one of the huge benefits of stories is being able to showcase your personality and connect with people on a deeper level. And yes, it can be great for conversions, but also incorporating your personal brands. Of course, you might be able to tell this isn't my favorite strategy, although it does work for a lot of people. So maybe you're in a season where posting more personal branding, or maybe you don't have a goal to be a personal brand. Maybe this strategy would work well for you. And in that case, I would say to go for it. Strategy number 2 that I see very popular with Instagram stories right now is I see a lot of people incorporating a little bit more of their personal brand, but it's still very curated in the sense of maybe they post 4 or 5 story slides at a time. And a lot of it is based on storytelling and incorporating their personal brand, maybe sharing a story from their day, but then they weave their business into that and end with a call to action for their business. So this is another one I see just has been very popular in the past, I would say year or so. And it is nice because you can kind of intentionally curate these stories one time, then you don't have to think about it the rest of the day. And it can still feel like very much like a personal brand without you having to document what might feel like to some people every part of their life, right? I personally tried this for a good few weeks recently in my business, and I personally found that intentionally curating those kinds of stories took me way more time than I was expecting, like maybe a good 45 minutes to curate a set of stories like that. And obviously it gets faster the more that you do it, but it definitely has to be intentional, like you sitting down, putting that thought and intention into it. And then I found myself getting way too in my head about my stories and not posting things I wanted to post because I wanted to wait to be able to curate it into like 4 to 5 slides. And yeah, so for me personally, it just didn't work as well for the way my brain works, but it might be a great option for you if you find that strategy 3, maybe you've tried it, it doesn't work for you. So strategy 3, what is strategy 3? Strategy 3, I would say that I see a lot of people doing, and this would be especially popular with more influencers and lifestyle brands, is personal documentation and really just sprinkling in selling into that personal documentation. And so what I mean by that is you're more focused on documenting your life as you're living it or your business as you're living it, and kind of posting more in the moment in the sense of like, I definitely don't post in the moment a lot, especially when I'm with my family. I document a lot, obviously, but as soon as I have a chance or as soon as I have free time, like I'll sit down and just post those stories and not overthink it. And then I just intermingle into those stories different selling points or different selling stories, like especially if it relates to a personal story slide I just posted, or if it relates to something that I'm doing in my business, then I relate it back to, hey, actually you can download this freebie or you can buy this for me that relates to this. So for me, this is what I've actually landed on being right for me and what has worked really well for me, because I personally feel like it takes less time and less dedicated time because you can do it throughout the day when you have, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there to post those stories. And I find that I don't overthink it as much whenever I am just posting what feels great in the moment to post and what I want to share, whether that's business or personal. And to me, I feel like this does build your personal brand the strongest strongest out of the 3 strategies because you are showing up as yourself. It does not mean you have to post everything about your day. It really just means picking parts of your day that you do want to share, whether it's, spending time with your family or making your favorite drink of the day or working on something in your business, packaging orders, talking to a client, like whatever it is, you're documenting those things in different ways through video, through photos, through text, and sharing that with your community through stories. I will say the one downfall of this that I have fallen into before is that I have leaned way too much into just posting personal stuff all the time that I neglect to make sure that I'm documenting my business as well and make sure that I'm showing up in that way for my community. But as long as you're making sure you're sprinkling in those like conversion-based stories, I found that my conversions can actually be higher when I'm sharing personal stories as well. So especially if like, the first few slides are about me more personally, I know I'm gonna probably get higher reach on those stories. And then more people are gonna see the next story, which is about my business or is a conversion-based story, and actually lead to more leads for my business in the end. So with that said, I have tried all these different strategies at different seasons of my business, and they've been helpful in different seasons. And maybe you already have one that you're like, oh, I kind of want to try that strategy. But within these, there's 3 big hacks that, especially when I think about Instagram stories right now, moving into 2025, what have I seen working and what helps me to get the most reach and conversions on my account? My account currently has a little over 20,000 followers. Typically, I have a good 400 to 500 views on my stories every day on just a typical story. Sometimes those views go up to, like on a really good day, 1,000 views, sometimes even 2,000 or 3,000 if it kind of like really blows up every once in a while. I'm gonna share what has worked and what I've noticed when I started to get more views and traction on my stories, what has helped me to do that. So number 1 is leading with a personal story slide before sharing something that's more business related or that's more conversion related. And so what I mean by this is, for example, maybe I went to a coffee shop with my twins and my baby and my husband. So maybe if I share 1 or 2 stories about that first, and then I post about, then I came home and then I worked on this in my business. And by the way, if you want this free download, here's the link. I found that I have a lot more views on that story slide than if I were to post that more business focused story slide first. So that's the first one. People just connect with people. They love that human connection. And I will use it as a way to help, more people on my account see my stories who are business owners in order to drive more conversion. So I noticed like I get more link clicks and more views to those business stories when I'm leading with personal first. So that's my first hack. My second one is to figure out ways to increase story interaction. So by story interactions, the best ones here are going to be replies to your stories. Like when I see people like popping off replying to my story views go up and up and up and up. Number 1 is ManyChat stories DM automations. If you're not familiar with that, I'll actually put a link to a tutorial right here where you can go to, it's a tutorial on my channel about how to create ManyChat stories automations where someone like replies with a certain word that you can send them a link to something or more information about something. And I found that to be really helpful just for the algorithm and getting my stories seen more. So if you have any interest in that, I have that tutorial, but also a link below for a free template where you can use it for your Instagram story. So we'll link that below as well. Another way that I've done this is done like free coffee on me. So I'll say, DM me the word coffee, and I will pick a couple of you who reply with that to send you $10 for coffee. I found that to be really helpful for a little boost and also just to give back to my community. Another one that's helpful is using engaging polls at the beginning of your story. So in the first story slide, having a poll that people can tap on. It's not as, it is something that they are doing that's engaging. I've noticed story replies typically boost my views more, but that's another great way to boost views, especially if it's super engaging and a lot of people tap on it. Instagram will want to show that to more and more people. And then the last thing here is to share something new. So I found that if I'm sharing the same freebies, the same offers over and over again in the same way too much, then it starts to fall flat. And so figuring out new ways to either share about the same thing, but approach it from a different angle, or share about new freebies or new offers, I found those definitely have the most engagement and link clicks and conversions for me. And then lastly, third hack here, this is one you don't want to do all of the time, but one that can be helpful if you're really down about your story views or if they've just been low and you've been posting a lot of stories lately. Sometimes I will just let my stories completely expire before I post new ones. And I find that almost reboots my story views a little bit and helps give me a boost whenever I go to post new stories again, because people are immediately seeing the very first one that you're posting. And you can have a little more strategy with the other hacks that I shared in this video. If you guys have any questions about anything we talked about with stories in this video, drop a comment down below. I'd absolutely love to answer that for you. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to subscribe for more videos every single Tuesday, just like this one, helping you grow your online presence for your brand or business. And I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye guys.